Hi, my name's Justin Shelfon. I'm the engineering lead at PatchMyPC. In this video, we're going to walk through the process to install, configure, and publish updates using our automated publishing service. We can currently see that we're in our config manager environment, and we do not currently have any updates published or synchronized. So this would be a start to finish process for how we would set this up. The first thing you'd want to do is download our publishing service MSI. So from our website, we can go to our setup documentation and then our using publishing service, and then download the MSI file from here. We'll go ahead and launch that and walk through the default installation of the publishing tool. Now you would want to make sure that you install this on the topmost software update point within your config manager environment. We'll go ahead and leave the option to go ahead and launch the publishing service, and then we're going to configure some of our settings. The first setting that we need to configure is our catalog URL. So this is going to be where we download the catalog metadata and determine whether there are any products that we should publish based on the products that we enable. Now, if you just want to try it out, if you want to use the trial mode, we can currently see we don't have any process configured, so we have access to all our products. Now, if you wanted to use trial, we could go ahead and select that and click yes, and this will give you full access with no time limitation, but it is going to limit you to a subset of products that are currently available in the trial. For this demo, we'll go ahead and paste in our catalog URL and click validate. That's going to verify your subscription is active and that we can download the catalog. The next option we need to determine is what type of WSUS signing certificate that we're going to use as our code signing certificate. So we could either import a PFX certificate that you get through a certificate authority, like Active Directory or maybe a third-party CA, or we can generate a self-signed code signing certificate that's used to download our packages. In our case, we're going to browse out and we're going to choose one that I created from a local Active Directory Certificate Services PKI infrastructure. Now, we do have a full guide that we'll include on creating the template if you want to go through and create your own code signing certificate from your certificate authority. So at this point, we are good to go with our certificate. So if we come to our product rules, this is going to be where we can enable what products we want to publish. So we can expand all the vendor and products and see the full list here. Now, a new feature that we did add recently is the ability to scan your configuration manager database and enable products that we detect automatically within your environment. So for here, we're just going to point out to our SCCM SQL Server name and then our database name. Once we do that, we can click on Query, and this is going to show us all the products and the vendors that we support, and it's going to list whether or not they are detected within your environment. Now from here, we can go ahead and choose Select All, or you could selectively choose the products that we detect if you wanted to automatically select them based on what we detect in your environment. So by clicking Enable that, it's going to enable all the products and vendors that we detected within your environment. Now for this demo, I'm just going to select a few products for time's sake. We do have some global options that we can apply recursively to all products and vendors as well. So for example, we have the ability to auto kill the application if it's in use before installing the update. So if we click on that, we could recursively apply that. We can also choose whether we want to recursively apply the skip the update if it's running, and then it will reattempt during the next software update scan cycle. And we can also choose if we want to delete the public desktop shortcut, and we can recursively enable that on all products. Now within this demo, what we're going to do is go down to Java, and we're going to choose the 32-bit of Java 8 because we have a client that has that installed. Now for this one, we're going to right click, and we can see that when we go down to the product level, we have a few additional options for pre and post scripts. So if you did want to add a custom pre or post script, you can go ahead and choose that option here, and then just browse out to whatever script you might want to run pre or post update. So in this example, we have a simple batch file that will be disabling the self updates of Java after the update is applied. So we'll browse out, choose OK, and then apply. For this demonstration, I'll just proceed with just Java for our publishing. The next option that we have is how often you want our publishing service to synchronize with our catalog and determine based on the products you have enabled whether we should auto-publish those updates to WSUS. So by default, we check every night. This can be a good schedule. We usually do about 3 to 4 catalog updates a week. But if you don't want third-party updates coming quite as frequently as when we release them, you could always choose a cadence that works for you for actually syncing the catalog and auto-publishing any of the enabled products. We do also have an option here to trigger an SCCM software update point sync whenever we publish new third-party updates. So this means whenever our utility here publishes any products you have enabled, it's going to automatically sync your SCCM software update point so that those updates start flowing into the console of SCCM right away. For this example, we're going to go ahead and run our synchronization now so we can get the initial publishing of those Java updates into our site. The next option here is our proxy and notifications. So if you wanted to get email notifications whenever any new products that you've enabled are automatically published to your site, that's where you can define these SMTP settings, and we're going to send you an email whenever new updates are published. Under the advanced settings, there's a few different things that we can do here. A common one could be you may want to delay expiring of previous versions of applications. So for example, let's take Chrome that comes out about once a week. Now, if you have a long testing cycle, we can keep the previous version still active for up to 30 days so you can ensure that those previous versions are deployed through your full testing cycle instead of getting automatically expired when the new one comes out. There's also a few other options here, so we can modify any of the publish wizards, so we can do things like declining them or deleting them if you had a scenario where you needed to do that. If you're in standalone WSUS mode, you can enable that option here, and it will make the updates available in the WSUS console if you're not using SCCM to deploy your updates. We also have our report installer here where we can go through and install our SSRS reports. All right, so jumping back to my browser, if I look at my email, I can verify that the email notification about new updates being published was automatically sent because I enabled those notifications. So we can now see that our Java update has been automatically published. If you wanted to get more details, more verbose, we could also open our log file, and we can also open the WSync Manager log as well directly from our utility. So this looks good. Now, since we did trigger the first synchronization, we can see that Config Manager did trigger a sync, but we don't have any updates showing up yet. The reason for that is after your first synchronization, after you do your first publishing, you're going to have to come into your site, software updates. So under our software update point, we need to enable the product for Patch My PC. So just like Microsoft has products, we're going to publish everything under the Patch My PC vendor. So we need to ensure that we have that enabled. Once we enable that, we can run one more software update point sync, and then the updates for Java will start flowing into our environment. So if we just monitor the WSync Manager log, we should see that kick in, and we should see the Java update coming into our console. Okay, so there we go. We can see that the Java update did synchronize now. So what that means, if we come back into our console, we can see the Java update should start showing up here in all software updates. Now, the next thing that we want to do before we deploy this update is make sure that our clients are prepared to install third-party updates. So if you're on Configuration Manager 1806, the process to deploy that certificate that we generated is quite simple. Within our software update point, there's going to be a new tab called Third-Party Updates. What we can do here is enable third-party updates and choose the option that Configuration Manager manages the certificate. So we'll choose OK on that. Then what we'll do is run one more software update point sync, and that's going to have Config Manager go out and read the code signing certificate within WSUS and automatically deploy that to your clients. The next option is we do want to enable a client setting to tell the clients they can install third-party updates. So if we go under our software updates, there's a new option here called Enable Third-Party Software Updates. We're going to change that to yes and then choose OK. Now you could of course make a custom client setting policy if you wanted to do that instead of the default. So within our Sync Manager log, we can verify that once this sync takes place, it should read the certificate and then deploy that to our clients. So now that we can see on the top of this certificate in WSync Manager, we can see it read the certificate. And now if we come back into our console and look at our software update point, and then look at the third-party updates tab, we should now see the thumbprint information and the details about the certificate that we're using to sign our updates. Now at this point, that certificate is going to be auto-deployed to your clients so that they trust all the third-party updates that our utility is publishing automatically. Now, if you're not on 1806 yet, I'll include a link that talks about how we can also deploy the certificate, enable the client policy using GPO within the description of the video. So we'll go ahead and do OK on this. And our updates have automatically been deployed. So we do have an automatic deployment rule that are automatically deploying any updates from Patch My PC. So if we look at our update groups, we can see that we have a Patch My PC group, and that Java update has auto been deployed to my devices. So jumping over to our client, we can see that this device is now showing that it's checked in for that software update group deployment, and it's detecting that Java update as being required. So what's nice about this process is that your deployment method, whether that's using ADRs, searches, or however you're making your software update groups, and all the deployment options such as visibility in Software Center, reboots, maintenance windows, the same deployment process that you would be used to and using today within Config Manager is going to be no different for any of the third-party updates that we automatically publish into your environment. So on our client, since we did make this visible and allowed to install before the deadline, we'll go ahead and initiate this installation. So that's going to go through and download it from your existing distribution points and scan against your existing infrastructure, so there's no need for any complex or additional requirements with regards to your infrastructure setup. Now for the Java update, we did choose to kill the Java process. So we can see we currently have our Java control panel applet running. We can see now that that was automatically shut down before we install the update. So this device currently has Java 8, update 161, and we should see at the end of this update process, that's going to get updated to 181. So now the Java update is complete. So if we go ahead and refresh, we can now see that we're at Java 8 update 181. Our update was successful. Now we also ran our post-update script. So if we open our Java control panel applet, what we're going to notice here is that the update tab is no longer visible. So when we initially did our application deployment for Java, we didn't disable the self-update feature. So that's why you saw the update tab in here before. But now that our post script ran and disabled those settings using a registry value in our script, we can now see that Java updates are totally disabled. So at this point, we're good to go. This would report the compliance back through your Config Manager site, and you could look at all your existing compliance reporting and any type of custom dashboards that you might be using today, or even our included SSRS dashboards, because when compliance gets reported back, they're going to report back just like any other Microsoft update. So your existing routines for reporting compliant are going to be no different than your existing compliance that you'd be using today for your Microsoft patches. I hope this video was helpful for you, and thank you for watching.